G'day ladies and germs, Connor here from C-Dubs Media, back with another video, and today we're having a quick look at the best Canon RF lenses for the APS-C series. For me, that's the Canon R50, and a lot of you might find this useful because it's one of the questions I get asked the most. Is this lens good enough? I'm going to do this. What lens do you think I should get? So if you're into the Canon APS-C lens lineup for the RF mount, then let's check it out. And I'm not going to just talk about RF lenses because I do use EF lenses and I also use some third-party lenses, and I will show you how to do that as well. Now, one thing I quickly want to say is this is not a sponsored video. Nothing in this video has been sent to me. So if you do find it useful, you could hit the like button, and you could even use an affiliate link if you decide to pick up a lens. That would help me out a lot more than hitting that like button, because YouTube is just going to smother me if it decides to, but you using my affiliate links is going to cash me up. So that's how you can help. Now, the first area I want to talk about is the wide angle lenses, and you will notice that Canon just released a 10 to 18mm RF mount lens, and it is very small and comes in at about 600 Aussie dollars. So I'm not your Google currency converter, so go get a currency converter when I'm talking and do your conversions. 600 Aussie dollars for the latest RF 10 to 18mm. Now, that's going to give you some pretty good range when it comes to the wide angle, which is like this 16 to 35mm equivalent, maybe, or something like that. I'll put it up on the screen here. That's going to give you some good landscape photos, and you're going to come in at like f11 for your landscape photography. So having that f-stop of f4 to 5.6 or whatever it is on that new lens isn't going to be a bad thing. Am I going to get it? No, I'm not. And the reason I'm not going to get it is because I actually have a 10 to 18mm EF-S lens from back in the days when I was shooting on the Canon DSLR lineup. My first YouTube camera was the Canon 700D, and guess what? I got some EF-S glass lying around and some EF glass that I can actually make use of. So I don't actually need to go out and invest in all those new lenses. So the 10 to 18mm EF-S lens on the Canon R50 is definitely a good option. This is f4.5 at 10mm and f5.6 at 18mm. But again, for landscape videos, I'm going to be shooting at around f11. Now, another thing this lens is good for is your vlogging. It's wide angle, you're going to get some nice wide shots, and it's going to serve a good purpose in that way. And the EF-S one also has a bit of lens stabilization built into it. Now, you're not going to get the most stable shots. You know, the R50 isn't stabilized in the way that, say, an R6 Mark II is, or the way that an action camera is. They offer different qualities, but it's definitely going to be enough light letting in an f4.5 to vlog in the middle of the day. You're probably even going to try maybe and dial back your f-stop a little bit because it's still going to be too bright. So a multi-function lens here, the EF-S 10 to 18 or RF 10 to 18mm, both are good options. Links down below. I think for the wide angle, they've got you covered. Now, you can look at the expensive ones, like this is the 15 to 35 RF lens, L series f2.8. Way overkill. I mean, this costs 4 times more than the Canon R50, so you're probably not going to get it. But it'll do a really, really good job and give you some really, really good results. But I just don't think if we're there yet. If we're shooting on the R50, 10 to 18mm, f4.5, I think it's good enough. And if you really just wanted that wide angle vlogging lens, you could get the RF 16mm f2.8 as well. So that's another option. That's a prime lens, one focal length, but they're not bad. They often give you more light, and the f-stop comes down to f2.8. So there's a couple more options. Fuck, I've got to change the battery. I'll be back. Now, another question that people ask me is, what is a good portrait lens to start with the Canon R50? And we've got a few options here as well. Now, again, I'm gonna look at the EF to RF adapter, or EF-S to RF adapter, because The Nifty 50 from Canon that has been around forever is always sitting in my top drawer. Comes in now at about 200 bucks, and that is a great lens for portraits. It's going to come through at like an equivalent of 85 mil, or roughly 80 to 85. Again, I'll put it here with the exact equation, but that's going to give you f1.8, so a really blurred out background or bokeh, and it's going to give you a nice sharp image as well. I think you can't really go wrong with the old school Canon EF f1.8 lens, 50 mil. It's a beauty, you can't go wrong with it. But there's also the RF, which is about $350, so I'm talking again Aussie dollars. Great little lens as well. It's going to give you pretty much the same sort of results. I would say if you don't have the EF one, try and get the RF one. It is going to be better not to have adapters and that sort of thing. But if you've got all that EF glass lying around, get an adapter and you already have heaps of lenses. So Canon EF 50mm, Canon RF 50mm, two great portrait lenses. Then I also use this 35mm RF macro lens as well, because that's a 50mm equivalent in the APS-C world. So you're going to get some good portrait shots with this as well. They'd be my two picks for the Canon R50 or the Canon RF APS-C lineup. I think that they're good mid-range lenses that give you exceptional results. Now again, you can go high end, you can go the 50mm f whatever L series lenses, and they are going to be better lenses, but I do think it is a bit of overkill for the Canon R50 or R7 or R10. I think we can make do with the 35mm f 1.8. That's coming in at I think 800 Aussie dollars, so probably about $3 US, and then the 50mm RF is coming in at about 350 Aussie dollars. Some good options there. Now I do also film B-roll for my product shots, and I do sometimes use 50mm just because I get a nice shallow depth of field. I can get some nice artistic looking shots. I can get a little bit creative, but they also let in some good light. And these lenses are at their sharpest at around that f5.6 to f8, f9 in amongst there. And so for filming product shots, you can get the whole shot in focus and it's going to look nice and sharp. So whether you're filming video or taking photos, these are two good lenses you can take a look at. Now for that mid-range, that zoom lens that we're looking at, that 24 to 70 or 24 to 105 or 24 to 135, they're all good options, and there's some great lenses in there, and I think I would get the best one that your budget allows without going overboard. Now the Canon RF 18 to 45 is a great little starter lens for that wide angle zoom, but it's not really mid-range, but you can also get the 24 to 105, which is RFS lens, and that's a good option as well. Probably pretty good for video and photo. I like this for vlogging, and I also like it for a bit of street photography as well. Again, the images are sharp enough, and you can see the reviews. I think if you watch those Christopher Frost lens reviews, he does an excellent job. He's got all the subscribers in the world to back up his work that he's done, and you watch those reviews on these lenses and you'll see what I'm talking about. They give some really good results. Now obviously if you're going to spend $4,000 on a lens, it's going to give you better results than $400 on a lens, but it's incremental, and for the Canon R50 these lenses are more than good enough. They give you good enough quality. So 18 to 45, 24 to 105, 18 to 135, they're good options. I think you can get everything you need to done within that range. Now this lens I'm filming on right now is a $4,000 lens. It is the 24 to 70 f2.8. Would I get it for the Canon R50? No, I actually think it's a bit of overkill. I think that you'd probably just look at the RFS lineup. The results will do you well. Now I did obviously just see the latest release from Canon, and they have released the 24 to 105 f2.8 lens. It's $5,000 Australian. No, I wouldn't recommend it. Not for this lineup anyway. I think that's more for your pro content creator or even your pro videographer, photographer doing commercial work. That's where that lens is aimed at. I don't think you would get it again at this price point of the Canon R50, which is like a $1,000 camera in Australia. But the one I want to talk about, there is a Canon 18mm to 150mm lens. RFS, or the cheap end of the RF lenses, comes in at around 900 Aussie dollars. Now that's going to give you a really good reach. So it's a good little all-rounder. You can get a bit of wildlife action in that. Maybe some sports activities of your kids. You've got a bit of zoom in on that as well. And the wide end. So that could be like a bit of an all-rounder. Maybe if you can only afford one lens, that could be a good option. Now there is also, Canon just released the 200 to 800. That's a real long reach, that one. It's a big zoom length. It's a long reach. It's going to give you the option for some really good wildlife reach and some sports reach as well. So I think that's something to look at. I just can't get that. Reach is incredible, 200 to 800. Then there is always the expensive L series lenses. Again, not where we're at, but I do have this. I pair this up with my Canon R6 Mark II. It's the 70 to 200 f2.8. Amazing stabilization, amazing sharpness, a solid lens. But again, do you really want to spend 4 times the price of your camera on one lens? I wouldn't have. When I started out, I had the 700D, and then I went to the Canon M50, and for the M50 I was on the budget lenses, and then I went to the R6 and then the R6 Mark II, and as I upgraded I started investing in the high-end glass, and I'm glad I did, but it's not where we start off. Well, for me, it's not where I started off. But that's it. I think this is one of many videos I could do on the Canon RF series of lenses. There's a lot of options to choose from. They're my picks. I'll list them here and I'll link to them down below as well, so you can make the best choice for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Check out.